How have the developments we've seen over the past week, in fact the past few months, so starting last August when we did have that suspension of the Director General, how are they helping to undermine confidence in the Nigerian Stock Exchange at a point where you're actually trying to build this exchange and expand the services that you offer?
Well, that is the interesting thing about this development. The intervention by the Securities and Exchange Commission was in its capacity as a regulator and in the interest of the investing public at a time when the market was in a precarious condition. And that was not the ruling of the court, was more about the procedure between an employer and an employee, and did not take into consideration the role of a regulator in protecting the system. So you could see that there was some divergence between what the court was looking at and what exactly is the reality which the regulator is dealing with.
And of course this still has some way to play out, because we know that the SEC would like to appeal this judgment. What sort of finality would you expect on this, and when would you expect finality on the whole matter?
Well, usually the judgment should be out in another day. It's a 50-page judgment, and the lawyers will go in and file their appeal, and that process goes on. But you have to go back to the issues surrounding this particular judgment. One is the question of jurisdiction. The jurisdiction, the Securities and Exchange Commission is incorporated under the Investment and Securities Act. It's actually ruled, governed by that act, whilst the judgment talked about the Companies and Allied Matters Act, which actually deals with corporate bodies. That's one thing. The second item was that the court talked about not being given following the proper procedure. That is the procedure of the employer and the employee. But even that procedure was complied with to a large extent, and that wasn't the issue. And then the question of exemplary damages, and which was of a magnitude which has never been heard of in this market before. But I think the important thing is that investor confidence is not threatened. The market continues to operate because everybody knows that that there's a process, the judicial process, and that the appeal process will start very soon, and this thing will be brought to some kind of resolution sooner or later.
Bismarck, just very quickly, we're almost out of time. You're talking about confidence still being with the NSE, and you are looking at launching new products, particularly derivative products. Tell us quickly, what sort of derivative products and how would you expect them to deepen the Nigerian market?
Well, derivative products are usually hedges against volatility and people taking advantage of information asymmetry and arbitrage in the market. Well, in this particular case, first of all, there's going to be equity derivatives, people having options and put options and call options on particular stocks, depending on, and to some extent, some short selling if people feel that the stock has some future in a particular direction different from the spot price at any point in time. But these are early days. First of all, let us have an efficient pricing mechanism, which is what the council and the new DGs is trying to put in place.